Now we come to the post method. Now we say the PHP post is a super global variable which is used to collect form data after submitting an HTML form with the method of post. Yeah, I've explained that in the previous lesson, and the example I'm going to show you also shows the same thing we are going to be doing, just like we did it in the previous video. Now we have a form. We have a form here, and we're going to be using our method of post just like we did in the first one. So I'll come back to this text editor, and instead of using a request here, we are going to use a post. And we can see, so what's the difference between a request and a post? They are doing the same thing basically. So we also have everything stays the same. The request method is equals to post, and if it is so, the variable name is equals to the post of the first name. This is the same thing, and we are going to, let me remove this required, and let me add a breaking tag here so that it breaks. So we're going to do the same thing. Just note that the only thing that changed was from request to post. So we'll go straight to our text editor, we reload it, and we put in power, and we submit. You see this first name is power. If I try to submit a blank one, it says no name was inputted. So we see we still have the same thing whether with the request or with the post method. They do similar things together. Okay, now we come to the get method. Now the PHP get method is a PHP super global variable which is used to collect form after submitting an HTML form with a method of get. Now, just like we have for the post, we also have for the get. It's also used to submit form data. And also another interesting feature about the get is that a get can also collect data sent in URL. There are some URLs we want to click on, and we'll see that they have so many extra things. Like looking at the URL we have underneath here, which says test get.php submit php web w3school.com test get. Now this URL is an example of a URL that uses the get method. So when a user click on the link test get, the parameter subject like we have here and web like we have here are sent to a page called testget.php, and you can also access their values in testget.php with get. Now I'm going to be carefully taking you through the get method. Now let's head to our text editor. Okay, so we are in our text editor and want to be implementing the get method. Now the first thing we are going to do is we are going to create a URL. Now, how do we create a URL in HTML? It comes with a tag called the A tag or the anchor tag. The anchor tag is a tag that has A in it, open and closed, and the value we want to display, or the text that will display out to everybody, is we want to test get. And how does it go? Where does it go to? How will it click? In the A tag, we put an attribute. What is an attribute? An attribute is a property of any element. So we have href. Href means higher referral. That is, where is that link supposed to refer to? That is where our URL are usually put in. So we say we want to use it test get.php. all right, and we say what? Now how do we use a get method in PHP? When we want to use a get method with a link, we put the question mark. Now the question mark says that whatever is after this URL, whatever is after the question mark, they are all get variables. So we say subject, I can call it track. I put equals to, I give it the value I want it to be. The track is backend, right? If I want to add another variable to display, I put and, right? And and what again? Let me say, and tutor, I'll be getting more. Tutor is equals to power, and the URL, input URL equals to udevhub dot, okay, let me just say .com to make it simple, and we have it saved like this. Now look at it closely. We have, this is the file we are going to be creating, test.php, but we are going to be adding all these other tracks to get it. So track is equals to backend, then we also put an and here, say and tutor equals to power, and URL equals to udevhub.com. We can add so many things to it. I can say and week, okay, sorry, not that's not an and week equals to week 2. All right, so let's go ahead and firstly let's display this in our browser and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to put it here. So you can see we have a clickable link called test get, So if you click on this test get, it's going to tell us file and object not found. Why is it saying that? That's because I have not created the test get.php yet, and we can see from our URL here we have text get.php, and we have track backend, we have tutor power, we have URL udevhub.com, and we have week 2. So let's go back to our text editor and create this page called text get. So if I come here, how do I do that? I click on Ctrl N. It's going to open a blank page, and I can do two things. I save the page, Ctrl S, and I call it test underscore get dot php and click on save. You see that it has changed to a PHP, and I can add my PHP file and save. Now note that as I try to save with the PHP and close it, it removes the last one. That is to say, PHP can run, since it's a PHP file, it can run without the closing tag. But because for the previous one I have here, I have some HTML tags in it, that's why I must always close my PHP. Alright, so now if we go back to our browser and reload, we see we don't have an error again because the page has been created. Now, how do we echo out the value? Now, to echo out the value, the first thing I'm going to do is echo, and we use what? Our super global for get, and we have, let me just go ahead and copy this so that I know what we are dealing with. I copy this and I'll be taking it away soon, and let me add it in a comment and put it here. Okay, so now the first thing we are going to do, since we are having a track here, we are going to use the track and put the track here. So we are telling it that get the track for us, right? And let me echo a break. Let me echo a breaking tag here. Okay, so I'm going to write it this way. Let's say echo your track is, right? And I'm going to echo the remaining one also. Let me go ahead and paste this. I paste this. Your track is, the next one is your tutor. Your tutor is, I'm going to change this to tutor. All right. Okay, let me do it this way. It's flagging out an error. Let me do it this way. Okay, your tutor is this, then your URL is URL. Okay, let me just format it this way. It's refusing to take it like a script, So I have to append it to it. So your URL is this, and your week is week. Now I have this. Now let's look at this carefully. Your track is now. Note that we are not echoing out this backend. We are getting the track, we are getting the tutor, we are getting the URL, and we are getting the week. So if you go back to our browser, since we have test get and track this, it's going to come and pick out the values inputted here. So if I go ahead and refresh this, we have your track is backend, your tutor is power, your URL is udevelop.com, and your week is week 2. So now what just happened? Now we have sent a data over the internet and we have asked them to get these variables. Subsequently, we can have it from a form. We can have it from a form, and we can see how it's going to be echoed out into the browser. So by default, when you have a form to fill, let's say we have this form, we have a form, and we didn't put any method, and we'll put input, right? Let's say input type text with the name. Okay, let's leave the name blank. Let's go ahead and just say placeholder, say first name. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Let's make this last name, and let's have an input of submit with a value that is saying submit. Let's just go ahead and echo this in the browser and see what we're going to get. So don't forget, we are changing this to back to our index.html, .php, and we load it. Now we have our form here. We say the first name is power, the last name is, I like to be thorough, Babaniyi, and we have submit. Now we can see we have the question mark here, but we don't have anything to display. So we can come back and make this display by adding a name attribute. Call this first and call this last. Then we'll come back and let me clear out this. Okay, so we can fill it again. Okay, suggestion power, and we have Babaniyi, and we submit. And what can we see? We can see that it also echoes out the variables here. We have first, we have last also here, and it's showing us. So we can come back to this, and like I said, we can put our PHP tag here, and we can come and say echo the first name is get first, copy this, paste it again, and the last name is last. Don't forget to echo a break tag, and go ahead and echo this. So we'll see that the first name is power, the last name is Babaniyi. So the get method is a very useful tool while submitting a form. If you don't want to go to the stress of using the post method and all, you can use the get method. Whatever you fill in the form will be gotten and displayed over the URL. But the disadvantage of using a get method while filling a form is because the whole thing you fill in the form, the whole value will be displayed in the URL, and people and potential hackers can see it and take advantage of that. So it's best you use a post method to keep the values in your form hidden.